You're watching Chicago Bears Now. I am your host, Harrison Graham, and today's show is a mailbag. So load up your questions by using hashtag Bears or Super Chat. You can also try to get on next mailbag if you don't get on this one. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Fortnite Man, Fields has been so fun to watch. Love to have him. Absolutely. And when you have this NFL draft conversation, not only has he been fun to watch, to me, with what he's had to work with, he's made clear strides this year, completion percentage higher. Sure, the volume yards isn't going to look great. It's the worst passing offense in the league, but the efficiency has been decent. So, yeah, I mean, you just got to get pieces around him, right? Not only on offense, on the whole team. But, yeah, he's taking good steps, and big offseason for him coming up, big offseason for the team to get good players around him. Timothy Smith, Bears possibly getting the first pick in largest cap space. They might be offseason kings. Yeah, that's why I've said it for weeks. This is, make no mistake, the biggest offseason in franchise history. You're going to have over $100 million in cap space, and even if you win one of your final two games, at worst a top 4 pick, but potentially the number 1 or number 2 overall pick. That's rare for it to have both of those at the same time, especially, and it's even rarer when you don't need a quarterback. You've got the quarterback. You just need everything else. From Keem with the super, appreciate the super chats, guys. If the Bears trade down and miss out on Will Anderson, bonanza, how many smoking Jays get us Daron Payne? Well, the free agency happens before the draft, so I don't think what happens in the draft, it's not like Daron Payne's going to be unsigned come late April. Like, he will either be back with the Commanders via the franchise tag, a new deal, he'll get tagged and traded, or he'll sign with another team. So I don't think the two are connected. But, yeah, if they trade down, they could miss out on Will Anderson, depending on how far they move. There's no doubt. I'll praise Justin. Could the Bears draft Max Duggan or Stetson Bennett to be Justin Fields' backup quarterback? This is an interesting idea because Trevor Siemian is on a 1-year deal, and after this year, 2-year deal, next year 1-year deal because 1 year left is what I meant to say. Got hurt, didn't look that great anyway. Stetson Bennett and Max Duggan, here's what they offer to the table. And you look at a little stat comparison as both these guys are getting ready for the college football playoff this Saturday. Duggan will play against Michigan. Bennett will play against Ohio State as Georgia looks to repeat as national champs. Here's what they bring. Experience, toughness, some mobility, which I think would be valuable, whereas Siemian doesn't have much of that. I think Duggan especially would be a good backup quarterback here. 5th, 6th round. Now, obviously you got to value your draft picks, but if you want a young, long-term potential backup, I think either of these guys would be a good option on day 3 of the NFL draft. Who do you think would be a better backup quarterback? Type MD for Max Duggan, SB for Stetson Bennett. We know Ryan Poles is going to value winners, and that is what these two guys are. Hey, I'd be happy with either of these guys to come in and compete for a backup role. From Larry Lapper, excuses aside, what do you have to say to those who you borderline insulted when they predicted the Bears would be as terrible as they ended up being? Well, I don't know what I exactly said, but yeah, I guess, USA Today saying the Bears would go 3-14, 4-13 are going to end up looking right. Here's what I would counter with, Larry. Did USA Today say that Roquan Smith was going to be traded early in the season? Did USA Today predict that Robert Quinn would fall off a cliff and then also get traded? Did USA Today predict 7 one-loss scores? Did they predict all this other stuff? So, yeah, I mean, my over-optimistic 8-9 win projection was off, but had they won 4 of those 7 one-loss games, they'd have 7 wins right now with 2 to go. So, yeah, they got a long way to go, but I'm not going to I don't think I owe anybody an apology. If I said anything, if I used some kind of an insult, okay, fine, but I don't think the Bears are, I don't think they projected it this way. No one predicted the trades. No one predicted any of that stuff. So, Larry, you've had beef with me for a while. I said something not great one time, and you've held it out against me ever since. So I don't know what else I can do. I said sorry. It is what it is. Q Carrito, you see that guy's mock draft where we get Tee Higgins? I did see it. That brings the question, what if we trade not only for a pick, but players with teams that have not the draft capital, example, Rams? let me just react to the Tee Higgins one. So the trade was number 2 pick to Cincinnati for Tee Higgins. Their first-round pick was just like 28th right now, a second and something else, which it's not awful, but I also don't want to drop from 2 to 28. Like, that's a big drop-off. Now, you get Tee Higgins, which is cool, but I don't know if I want to move down that many spots to do it. So I would trade a 2024 first-round pick for Tee Higgins probably, but you can't trade a top 3 pick for Tee Higgins. Like, I'm not doing it. So appreciate the super chat, but I would not make that move. Now, BetUS is the place to go if you want to bet on Chicago Bears games, NFL, NBA, college football, or anything else. Go to chatsports.com/Bears. Use promo code BEARDOWN. Put down $100. You get $125 for free with BetUS. Make some money with BetUS. Hey, if you want to bet on the Bears to cover or to lose or for Detroit to cover the spread, you could do so. Detroit 6.5-point favorites, over under in this game 52 points. It is in Detroit, so it's indoors. Chatsports.com/Bears, promo code BEARDOWN. Some college football bowl games left, so hey, go put your money where your mouth is. Get signed up with BetUS. From Alan Melendez, thoughts on Larry Bourne performance on left guard. Think he did okay. Saw him get beat, so I'm not a huge fan. He's a backup lineman. Let's be honest, right? He was a 5th-round pick, and look, he's got versatility where he can be a backup tackle and guard. It is what it is. I think for a 5th-round pick, a backup lineman on a 53-man roster is decent value. So it's all good. Cornelius, if Houston gets 1 and Chicago gets 2, why would Houston trade with Chicago when they know Chicago is not going to pick a QB? I think you meant if Chicago gets 1 and Houston gets 2. Here's why, Cornelius, and I tried explaining that in that other segment. If they catch wind that another team likes the quarterback they like, then they may have to move up themselves, right? Like, here's the example. Bears have the 1st pick. Texans have the 2nd pick. Let's say the Colts have the 5th pick. Well, Colts love Bryce Young, and they offer the house to Chicago. Houston also loves Bryce Young. So if you're the Bears, like, you're taking whichever offer is better. Like, the Texans could be pissed if they want Bryce Young, so they may have to move up from 2 to 1 to secure the quarterback they want. That's why getting 1 is even more valuable, because every quarterback's still out there, and different teams are going to like different guys. So if Houston zeroes in on one guy, but another team jumps him, that's not good for Houston. So if they catch wind of that, maybe they jump to the table and they offer a bigger trade package. That's the whole point. That is where the word power comes in. If you get the number 1 pick, if you're the Bears, you got all the power for the NFL draft. Hugh Carrito, we know Fields is tough, but should we be concerned about any of the pesky injuries that have been pestering him or a decrease in his rushing work? Yeah, I think he, against Buffalo, didn't run as much because I think he took a couple big hits early and they just didn't do it as much, so I was actually fine with that. He even said it a couple weeks ago, while he'd like to break Lamar's record, he also acknowledged he doesn't expect to be a 1,000-yard rushing quarterback year in and year out. That's where better pieces around him come in, right? Better offensive line that protects longer in passing situations, find receivers that are open. Hopefully those receivers are better players in the future. Hopefully this is the best running season he ever has. Now, obviously his legs are going to be a weapon for a while, but I think that in an ideal scenario, there's more throwing and more efficient throwing from Justin Fields. From Busy Womack, what spot do you think Gordon plays best at CB2 or slot? The good news is he's versatile, right? I don't really care which spot he plays. We know the Bears value that nickel spot, but, I don't know. Last week he played outside corner, played really, really well. Stephon Diggs, limited to 4 catches. I thought that was pretty good work by him. So the good news is he's gaining confidence. He can play both spots. That's very, very good to see. We have a few more super chats that we will get to, but if you're a Bears Now subscriber, go ahead and type Bear down in the comments below. Appreciate all the supporters here on the channel. I like that we could agree to disagree. That was my point with Larry earlier. Feels like he has it out for me. I'm not really sure why, but always welcome anybody on the show. So type Bear down if you are a Bears Now subscriber. All right, Keem78. The Bears field held up really well this season. GM gave head coach influence on the grass, by the way. Larry Lapper's Hayward, onward and upward. I got nothing against Larry Lapper. I think he's negative a lot, but, in his eyes, he's being realistic, and he was more right than I was on the Bears win total this year. So kudos to him. I think a lot of factors came into play, but, it's we just have different mindsets, I guess, is probably the best way to put it. But there's mutual respect. It's all good. From Ray, I thought we'd trade 2 pick to Steelers for Claypool. Yes, they traded a second-round pick to the Steelers for Claypool. They also got one back for Roquan, so still a second-round pick, but they did trade their second to Pittsburgh. William says, thoughts on Bears getting DJ Chark? I'm open to it. He's had some injuries. He's had a couple big games this year for Detroit. I'd be open to it. I don't think he's a number 1, but if he wants to come in, be a big target for Justin Fields, I'd be down. I would have liked to see the Bears sign him last offseason, but they did not do so. All right, appreciate all the questions. At HGramNFL, you can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. If you have any Bears questions, you can hit me up over there at HGramNFL on Twitter and on Instagram.